Hey y'all, welcome back. It's time for some more One Piece on the channel. I have a little project we're going to be working on today. I have a good friend of mine, my roommate Texas Tibbers, who is in the process of trying to get into Purple Black Luffy. So we are going to be putting together a little bit of a deck. Should be pretty similar to what she is going to be running for her deck. And we're going to see how it plays, see how it kind of feels, and we'll see what we can work with. I know we only have 2 of these bond clays, but I am going to go ahead and include them, even though I'm not sure if I'll be able to get her to actually borrow my bond clays. I'm trying to remember what exactly we were running for this. Actually, I have it pulled up here. Hold on just a moment while we go through the deck building process. I know she had just gone through and bought some interesting cards. So we've got some Sanjis in here. 4 of the blocker Sanji, 2 of the regular Sanji. She's got the Chopper. She was a big fan of this card. This guy's pretty cool. At the end of your turn, you can return some Dawn, and this character gets set as active and becomes a blocker. Running that as a 4 of. Of course, we've got the Searcher, Trafalgar Law. Really can't do it without him. He's pretty great. Frankie is also a great pick for the this Straw Hat deck. I'm a big fan personally. Next up, we have, let's see, she's running this Brook card. 2 of. This is just a 1k counter. You return one or more Dawn to your deck, and you do minus 2,000 to 2 of your opponents. I think this is a pretty cool card. Good for board clear for sure. We've got the Roronora Zoro, this version of it that essentially ramps a Dawn for this deck. Believe that we do not have the Rusher Luffy, but we do have a couple of 2 of these and 2 of both different kinds of Kaidos here. And we've got the Usohachi. Boom. We've got the Onami, which we're going to be just running a 2 of. We've got the other Zoro, who's going to be our Searcher Zoro. And then we've got Top Knot. We've got 2 of on the Top Knot for some removal. And of course, we have Gum Gum Giant. So we do have a couple cards that we do need replacing in here. There are some interesting options for what we have. Let me just think about exactly what we would want to be going for. Obviously, Black Maria is just like a really goated card. Would probably fit really well into the deck. Even though we don't unramp very often. Trying to think about cards that she would like as well, though, so we can make sure that we let it rock properly. I think this Eustace Kid would honestly probably be pretty good in the deck. Being a 6,000 power leader every now and then doesn't hurt too bad. Some more black cards in the deck could potentially work out pretty well for us as well. The problem being that we don't run super heavy into the blacklist already. So definitely like not focusing very much on like cost reduction and stuff like that, right? So probably want to stick it out in the purple here. There are some purple staples that always go well for stuff. Obviously, 9-cost Lin Lin is pretty good. Let's see. We've got this old chopper. This is not a Straw Hat chopper, though. Trying to think here. Franosuke is a 2k blocker who could be pretty good for us. Miss All Sunday, I think, would also be pretty decent. Just sneaking in a little bit of extra ramp in there. I think that what I would want to add to this deck as it is some more options similar to Top Knot. I think what I want actually is, where is it? I would add a Brachio Bomber as maybe a 2 of, and then we just need to get 1 4 of. Something that we would really like. Magellan is pretty fun. He is a dead card for us. I think that what we'll end up doing instead, though, we're going to go ahead and up our Zoros to 4, and we're going to up our Actually, instead of upping our Onamis to 4, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding 2 Gecko Morias. We have 2 Gecko Morias. That way we can have a little bit more of that recursion. We have plenty of targets for it. And should be able to do some cool stuff with this. This is Peanut Butter Luffy. And we're just going to put a 4 on this. We're going to save this. We're going to go into some OP09 games here on Eastern. And we will hopefully be able to get into a lobby here pretty quickly. You'll see y'all here in just a second. Oh, we're in. We got a goat, a true goat playing yellow-green Arlong, who can spend a Dawn when they have 2 Dawn attached, play a character card with cost of 4 or less, trigger from your hand. Very cool. I like this card a lot. He basically is like more aggro Vegapunk almost. I don't know if we want to go first or second. Judging by his ability, going first for us is probably a little bit better. And I think that this starting hand is fine. Having a Searcher in the first round feels pretty good, and we'll be able to get this Zoro added to our hand, which will be quite nice when we're on that 3 Dawn turn. Basically instantly ramping us at least 1. So the trick with a lot of the cards in this deck is in the Luffy ability, right? Every time we use a card action, we're going to return an extra Dawn. We return 1 optional Dawn. So we gain an active, and gain a rested. So this card, because it ramps a Dawn and this guy ramps a Dawn, we get a whole bunch of real good stuff. And we get a little bit of extra cost to all of our cards while they're out. I think that Purple Black Luffy has access to a lot of really cool stuff. Okay, Blocker Sanji comes out on a discard from the trigger. That's okay. We've got to be a little bit more careful potentially about those triggers coming out, but we definitely want to play a very nothing to block with here, unfortunately. So we just let this resolve. We want to play a board control kind of game. And Brachio Bomber actually sounds kind of goated here. Discard, 1 card. Rest of the leader cannot attack. That's okay. Yeah, go ahead. Let's KO this guy. We ramp a Dawn, and then we'll go ahead and attack with Zoro. Our goal is to get him to block. A 2k counter, honestly, is a huge win for us also. It's weird, but anything that is him not taking the hit to his life is kind of a win for us. You're at 4 Dawn remaining. We are a little bricked on counters, but I'm a little confused as to what you're going for here. Let's go ahead and 2k, 1k here. You're swinging with your blocker is the thing. You're just planning on swinging into the Zoro, playing a Kiku. That's totally okay. Draw, draw. We're now at 9 Dawn. So this guy trashes a card, which is pretty good for us. So we're going to deploy you. We're going to activate main. We trash 1 card, which is going to be this Rusher Kaido. You kill your Kiku, and then you have to trash a card out of your hand. Which, hey, that's pretty good. Any situation against these trigger style decks, if I can get him to spend like that, that's awesome. But we'd prefer getting them to spend, but with us attacking into their board rather than their life. Because attacking to his life, he could just get a Kiku Nojo back, right? I think this Kaido on ramp here is super, super good for kind of what we're planning. Unfortunately, we do have to let this one resolve. We do get a 1k. We have a 2k in hand. Do I 2k, 1k here? You've done all that you can. I think that I do 2k, 1k here. 2k, 1k. You get another Kiku Nojo out, but I will be able to trash that Kiku Nojo, which is going to be awesome. Or I could bottom deck it, which is also kind of awesome. So this is a pretty fun turn. We get to use Zoro. We want to... Honestly, we kind of want the Gum Gum Giant. Even though Law is pretty tempting, I think we just take the Gum Gum Giant. We then use Kaido's ability. Here, wait, hold on. Let's make sure we're doing this in the right order here. Yeah, we're going to have to... Actually, let's attack with our Luffy first. That sounds awesome. We're going 1, 2, 3. 3 Dawn onto Luffy. And have him attack the Sanji. And then we use Top Knot. Return 2 Dawn. Hit you. We gain 1 active Dawn. And 1 rested Dawn. Sure. Put 2 Dawn onto you. And I also forgot that this Kaido, he can't reuse his ability, which makes sense. He would be way too strong if he could. So we did end up doing that correctly. And he didn't get a trigger, which is pretty huge. There are no trigger cards that get Rush, to the best of my knowledge. So we're kind of chilling. He's definitely still generating a ton of value here. We, I think, do counter out of this. The chances that we brick on the draw are pretty low. Oh, we don't have a Dawn. That's my bad. Draw a card. I thought we saved a Dawn for that. Oh, we put it all onto Luffy. That's right. That's okay. I can KO a 6 or less and have Rush this turn. If you can't block 1, 2, 3. I have 4 swings coming at you, right? So we're going to swing with 5 just to test the waters. See if you have any counter in hand. We'll save the on-play effect for in case we... there's your 2K, okay. Save the on-play effect in case you trigger a blocker. Redeploy. Use card action. 5 Dawn. Trash that guy. Oh, okay. Well, we got baited into clicking the go next button. Hey, but hey, that worked out pretty well. Didn't get to do the 10 cost Luffy play, which I do very much enjoy for this deck. But we can just hop right into another game. So far, Arlong has been defeated. We'll see what we can do. Maybe we can hit up some of the more meta decks for OP09. See how we fare. We got a Vegapunk. Oh my goodness. My Vegapunk goat. All right. Against Vegapunk in this situation, I kind of think going second might be good. But I think we just have too good of a curve going first to really ignore it. We'll keep this. Seems totally fine. Usohachi, just super, super good against Vega. I can rest whatever character I want. Basically, this is kind of a like waited out until later games situation. The Kaidos, any removal that we can get, any swinging into board that we can do. Presumably, this is a rushdown Vegapunk, which means that we're kind of just wanting to survive the early game, which we should be able to do, even though we have literally no counter other than Usohachi in our hand. Might have been a mulligan angle, but hey, that's all right. You live and you learn. It's not too often I get to actually fight against Vegapunk, so... Giving him this extra card draw can definitely be rough in our overall game plan, but... Going first with Vegapunk can definitely be... Or going second with Vegapunk can be some awkward curve parts. Really, really depends on what style you're playing. So we're going to go ahead and play Zorojuro. Return 2 Dawn. Gain 1, gain 1, gain 1. Easy enough. We're going to go ahead and deploy this boy and draw another Zoro. And we'll just put 1 onto Luffy and we'll swing in. It will be important to remember to keep putting Dawn onto Luffy. This +1 cost will be very relevant in general for a lot of our cards. Not at this breakpoint, but if you think about this Zorojuro, right? Him being a 5 cost instead of a 4 cost means that he can't get Rocket Luffy'd, which is really, really big. He's got a 2K for sure. Interesting. He's running Beje. Maybe this is a control deck? It doesn't change my first couple turns too much. It doesn't change yours too much either. Running Beje is interesting though. It has been a while since I ran Beje in a Vegapunk deck. It's just the deck feels so harsh to brick, especially when you're bricking out of life, or if you manage to somehow brick in hand. It can be really, really rough. So the Onami comes out, right? We had expected that. Taking out the Zoro, but that is okay. You're putting 2. With 2, I mean, we have to let it through. That's okay. You're probably saving... Oh, no. Okay, you don't save the 1 for the counter. That's fine. We let that resolve. Draw a card. Draw Dawn. So, at this point, we play another Zoro here. Deploy. Use card action. We return 2 Dawn. Gain 1, gain 1, gain 1. Now we're at 5 Dawn. With which we will probably play this Zoro and draw a Straw Hat type card. Can I draw a Zoro? Oh, I can. That's cool. We'll go ahead and throw 1 Dawn onto you and swing into the board. It is all about controlling the board. We are going to need to stabilize our life situation. Getting this Sanji blocker out wouldn't be a bad idea. Because having a 6k blocker will help us a lot as we stabilize our life. Expectation, Rocket Luffy, or another Nami. This is your turn that you play 2, right? Or you add a Robin to life. Okay. That is okay. If we can get to the situation where they have 0 cards in hand, it can be so nice for us. We'll just be in complete control of the board. We are in control of when they're getting to trigger, right? Which is kind of the biggest downside when you hit this point that you're having to start potentially stacking life, right? Because presumably he doesn't have too much crazy going on in the hand if you're throwing that Robin on a life here, but you're in the... Oh, that's rough, buddy. So this is definitely a control deck that is like pretty bricked out. That is rough indeed. So I think what we're gonna throw in here, we have 9 Dawn right now. Actually, if he's a control deck that's bricked, he would draw 2. We wouldn't get lethal this turn, but it'd be funny. I think what we're going to do is we're going to play another Zorojuro. We'll go ahead and snag a Gum Gum Giant. And we'll put Top Knot on the top when we return. And we'll also play out this Chopper. And so this Chopper is going to ensure that we basically get a free blocker every round and a free Dawn being up every round for the rest of the game, basically. The question here is, do we swing in? I think that we do, specifically because we're a little bit worried about the Yamato incoming. Like, we'll give you some cards in hand. That's fine. And I'll go ahead and swing in another 5k. If you counter, I'll swing in a 6k as well, but... Okay, you counter at the 5k with a 2k, importantly, which is really nice for us. I think that does mean that he's pretty bricked, which I think means that we are poised to win on the next one here. He may have the 1-cost event in his hand. They're struggling right now, though. Going their 6 Dawn turn, being a brick like that, is just so rough. Because that's a turn that you're... Oh, and you didn't get a trigger. Oh, no, dude. End turn. Return. Make sure you always return 2 Dawn. And then we gain an active Dawn, and we gain a rested Dawn. The Chopper card, I think the Chopper is pretty cool, honestly. It's a 6k blocker. It gets you having 1 Dawn active every turn. It's basically a 6k blocker that restands 1 Dawn at the end of every turn, right? And can attack, which is like, I mean, green, eat your heart out, right? Because it's going to enable us to be able to use our Gum Gum Giant. We're going to protect our board here. We have 3 2Ks and a Gum Gum Giant in hand. And then we still have a Rusher Kaido after this. The best thing about Rusher Kaido is he's so good against Vegapunk in this situation, because what Vegapunk wants right now is to add a Shaka to life. And he also wants this to be a Shaka as well, right? So that the Shakas essentially can block 2 hits. But Usohachi could rest a Shaka, and Kaido can KO a Shaka if he wants. And going down 5 Dawn, which is actually just going down 3 Dawn. So you're going to Raigo my Chopper, huh? I think that is understandable. I get where you're coming from. I don't think that's a very winning play. You have to attack in. The question is, you put 1 Dawn on here and attack in, I 2k it. Then you have to add to life. Okay, it's an Edison. You'll either use as a 2k. Counter, easy. You either use Edison as a 2k, or you play it and use it to filter some cards in your hand, which honestly would be pretty decent. I'm gonna be totally real with you though, Chief. I think I'm trying to murder you this turn. So check this out. We got a 5k. You could counter. If you counter more than like 2 of my swings here, then I'll change my game plan up. That doesn't feel very likely. You trigger. You do trigger. So you get to draw 2 and discard 2. What are you discarding? Yeah, a Yamato and a Kata. Understandable. We'll go ahead and attack again with 5. We're doing a lot of these small attacks because Vegapunk has an active incentive to take hits to life, right? Which is really good for us. Okay. He takes 1 more. Because it disincentivizes him from countering out, because he also wants to maintain his card hand, right? Or his hand size. So swinging with these really small, annoying attacks, these little bugger guys, it can be really big, because he may make a value misjudgment. Am I allowed to be my turn yet? You play that, you probably draw a 2k. Which is totally fine, because what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 on here. We're going to attack in. We're going to force you to use that 2k as well as 1 other card. Okay, so you have that. So we know that you have a 2k in hand, 1 2k. If you have 3 2ks or 2 2ks and a 1k, but I know that you're playing control, so we're going to use our card action. 5. I'm going to go ahead and KO. We'll just KO this one. Gain 1. Oh, there we go. We won. They conceded. GG's. I didn't get to see their hand at the end there. But I assume that they just didn't have the counter out. I wish that is there a setting to move that button? I don't think so. Offset and turn button. There's no offset to go to next game, go back to main menu. But yeah, that's against Vegapunk. That's pretty cool. That's actually really, really fun. We played that super well. I think that unfortunately Vega just didn't have what he needed at the end there, and we were playing very effectively with the small pings to get him to waste a ton of 2k counters that game. And it's going to be a Dofi. Dofi is a scary character. Let's go ahead and go first again. We're going to mulligan aggressively for the starting hand that we want. This isn't great. This is actually not too bad. Brachio is fine. That's removal, right? Bentham is okay. And it's also extra ramp, so we're going to be ramping really fast this game. We're going to use our Searcher and get this Zorojuro. That is just absolutely peak. That's exactly what you want to see in this situation. Maybe he has, yeah, he has one of his Searchers. Yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful curve for us here. We'll be able to get a Chopper down. Chopper being a 6k blocker isn't going to be the most relevant here. And when it comes down to lethal swings, Dofi does have some ways to swing through blockers. Getting 10 cost Luffy is cool. Deploy, use card action, -2 Dawn, 1/1/1. Easy peasy, and we swing in with a 7 to get us started and turn. But I've been playing a lot of NL and the Robin versus Dofi, so it'll be interesting to be not in yellow. And also, he's just going to have infinite cards in hand, which does make me kind of sad, but that is a-okay. He's just raw playing the Boa Hancock, huh? That's kind of crazy, right? We are very low on counter here, unfortunately. We go to 6. We could KO your Boa. I think we do KO your Boa. You also ramp a Dawn in the process. You'd have to give me something pretty tempting. Do I use the 2Ks? No, I think I take this hit. That's okay. The counters is something that we know is a problem in this deck. We will be hopefully addressing. So let's just go ahead and KO your Boa. And then we'll swing with 6 with Luffy. Swing with 5. So again, we're about pressuring the hand size, which is going to be hard, but we're pressuring the life totals at least, right? These small characters that we're playing that are also ramping us up. So like next turn, I could play this Kaido if I wanted to. I'm probably not going to, mostly because we don't want to -5 Dawn next turn, right? But we could, and we wouldn't even be... We could play this Kaido, we wouldn't even be behind, quote-unquote, on Dawn versus this guy. Which is crazy, right? But we are going to be on 9 Dawn, which I think is probably going to be like a Zoro, Zorojuro, and then we'll still have 4 Dawn left after that to play something else. We could even play a Bentham. Swinging 1k into my Zoro, huh? I will give you my Bentham. Then you bounce the Zoro. Fine. Draw a card. Draw Dawn. Ooh. This trashes that guy, huh? You know, that's pretty good. I was kind of thinking that getting this Kaido would be kind of goated here. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll trash a card from our hand, which is going to be the Zorojuro. Easy call to trash that because we're already waiting for, we're already in late game, right? So we don't really need to be ramping. We don't need to be playing these small bodies. There is a call for like maybe using it for an efficiency play, like this little combo right here on 10 Dawn is something we're going to consider for sure. But for right now, feeling pretty good about this. You have to discard a card. You have to give us another card here. And you used a 1k. Okay. We do have a big boom as well, right? We have the Kaido Rusher, and we have the Luffy Rusher. Essentially Rusher, right? Oh. Again, with the 5k swings... I will go ahead and throw you a Chopper for that one. That's fine. Okay, Boa Hancock is pretty much to be expected here. I'm interested as to why they're not... I mean, I imagine you would just want to... You're just on Weird Dawn turns, I guess. I would just be even gambling on your Boa ability. Oh, I think they might just be fucking up. Oh, no, it's because they played the Boa. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, they could have even just ordered that differently. Draw a card, draw Dawn. We got a couple searchers here. Okay, so... Go ahead and deploy this guy. Use card action. Return to Dawn. Gain, gain, gain. Play our Zorajuro. Let's go ahead and grab... Ooh, grabbing the Sanji does sound pretty nice. Sanji and Usohachi have basically the same purpose here. Let's do that. And then we will play another Searcher. And we will go ahead and grab this 2K counter. Grabbing a couple 2K counters just to make sure we stay effective here. I would like to put 1 Dawn on you. Have you attack in. Just trying to be obnoxious with the hand size again. They don't want to really block this unless they just have a 1K that they're trying to burn. But they also, if they block early in this situation, then my Kaido will kill it, right? So we're going to attack then with 5 with our Law. And then we're going to attack your Boa with our Kaido. Which is, you know, basically the best you could have hoped for. They used a 2K. We got rid of a Boa. That's 2 Boas down. There's a decent chance we're going to have to get through all 3 Boas at the end, by the end here, right? Now, next turn is going to be a big turn for us, because next turn, presumably they don't kill this Kaido. They could certainly try, but it'll be really hard for them to. The next turn, we've got 4 potential swings, and then we also have a Rusher swing. We could even use our Luffy for a whole bunch of big hits here. Which if we use Monkey D. Luffy for the 10 cost, we'd have 5 potential swings, right? Which would be pretty good. Probably wouldn't get me lethal, unfortunately. It would be like 1K, 1K, 2K. There'd be 3 hands down inside, or 3 cards down in hand. Let's see here. Another Searcher. He searches for Shichibukai. Get a Law. You're going to use Law to bounce. You really don't... You don't even want to bounce these too badly, right? If you're bouncing them, you're literally just trying to play defensive to survive the next turn. Which is not a very happy place to be, right? As any of these cards that you bounce... I get free stuff, right? This is a 1 Dawn 5K. Are we finally going to gamble? No? Okay. We are pretty close to just wanting to kill them. But I do think that if we can counter at this stage, we do counter at this stage. I think that countering there, we could have taken the card in hand. You're going to try to swing with 10 there. Honestly, that is the case for us not countering there. He could have easily swung with more. But that was just kind of a greedy swing, honestly. If you're going to swing that, you got to swing at least 2K over. Sure. Yeah. That is the least value that you could have bounced back. And you bounce back a 1k counter into your hand. Just we have to be aware of it. Now we are starting to hurt on hand size, which is definitely a problem. We are going to go ahead and attack your face. My plan is face, face, Weevil. Ugh. Face, face, and then Weevil. Attack Weevil with 10. And then play this Kaido. And we're going to go down 5 Dawn, KO you. Gain 1 active Dawn, gain 1 rested. So we're going to be still back up at 8 next turn. Then have this Kaido, rush or attack into your face. We have a Dawn up, which we can't really use at the moment, but that's fine. And then we end the turn. Oh, I guess I could have hypothetically just thrown this Dawn onto Luffy, but I think that bluffing that we have Giant is probably better in this situation. Yeah, we are looking... yeah, there's a concede. We are looking a little bit scary there. I mean, they could have had... Because we went so late game so fast, they just didn't have what they needed to keep up with us, and they didn't really get to use their Doflamingo ability very much to actually generate a lot of value. Didn't see a single Jinbei all game, which is insane, honestly. They didn't have it in life either. They just have it down here at the bottom of the deck somewhere. Not a single Jinbei all game is rough. And then we got built up so fast. There was no way they were going to be able to do anything to survive the next turn. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the story of it. Got to review the hand a little bit at the end of that one, which is pretty nice. One more run with a Peanut Butter Luffy. Peanut Butter Luffy. And then we will go ahead and call it a wrap for this video. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and watching us play a little bit. This Luffy deck is fun. I think this Luffy deck has a lot going for it. It does fall short compared to certain other decks in the meta. But I think as far as like a high solid, like I think this deck's a lot of fun and has a lot of cool stuff. We're going to be getting into it there. Speaking of other decks in the meta, it's Purple Luffy. Oh no. We're going to go first, as we have been. Ugh. I hate mulliganing this hand, but I think we have to mulligan this hand. Actually, wait. Hear me out, y'all. If we don't mulligan this hand, hear me out. This is our Giga Ramp gameplay, right? They're going to try to ramp. They're essentially a 3-life leader, right? Their ability, they take a life into hand, and then they ramp a Dawn. They're going to have a lot of counters, and they're going to have a lot of stuff to ramp with. We're going to use card action, -2. Gain 1, gain 1. Gain 1. And then attack with 7. So we want to be attacking with either 5s or 7s, almost exclusively. Attacking with a 6, I think, is just literally never worth it. I mean, I say literally, but you do still get a card out, right? You are going to attack me with 5. We'll just go ahead and give you a 2k. That's fine. You get a blocker, which is a 6, which does complicate things a little bit here, but that's a-okay. Deploy, use card action. 1, 2, return 1, gain 1, gain 1, gain 1. Now we've got 5 Dawn remaining. I think that what I do I play another Zorojuro? It doesn't ramp us because we can only use this ability once per turn, but it still gets a body out for us. I think that's pretty fine. Use card action. So we just return 1 Dawn this time, and then we gain 1 active Dawn. And then we attack with a 8. Reason I'm attacking with the 8 is so that he can't block and counter, right? We're still playing, just trying to play around that 2K threshold. Next turn we go up to 9 Dawn. We'll let this one resolve. Next turn we're going up to 10 Dawn. Brachio Bomber putting in a little bit of work for us. Honestly, the Brachio Bomber has done pretty well. I played this in Robin. Might have wanted to save it for this turn, but that's okay. There is indeed a world, right? You draw an Onami who's a 1K, okay? Draw a card, draw Dawn. It does exist a world where I try to kill you here. We probably don't live in that world, but I do think that there's a decent chance that I play the Kaido here regardless, right? Be a good, funny ramp turn. I think that if we're playing the Kaido, we go ahead and give our 1 Dawn to Luffy, attack in, give them the opportunity to block, attack with 5. Oh, wait, no, we want to order this a little differently. We do want to kill the blocker real quick. Deploy, use card action, 3, 4, 5. Kill the blocker, gain 1, gain 1. Now we get a 6K swing. We get a 5K. I'm expecting some amount of counters to come out, but at this point, we're kind of just looking to whittle him down here. And he has now the choice, right? He can try to kill me, which he could have his own Kaido or 9-cost Luffy Rusher, right? We have a little bit of counter to work with, should be fine. He can try to kill my board, which honestly, pretty okay with. I'm definitely not using a 2K and a 1K to save a Zorojuro, right? There's a 1-cost character. We may try to save Kaido, but the big thing is that we have our big Luffy, right? We got Gear 5 Luffy coming in next. If you make a greedy swing, I will counter it out. And then we're basically going to try... Well, so the downside, right, of trying to get to lethal next turn is that Gum Gum Giant exists. With Gum Gum Giant, we will let this one resolve. With Gum Gum Giant, you can do some scary stuff. Nami too. You're going to be more likely to actually have the Gum Gum Giant. So, we're at 9 Dawn now. You're also at 9 Dawn. I think what I do here is I go 1, 2, 3. I had miscounted. My mental plan is a little bit off because of how I miscounted here. So let's go ahead and put 2 Dawn onto Kaido. We're going to go ahead and we're probably going to try to play this guy. I'm going to put 1 Dawn onto Luffy and have Luffy attack into you. Get a 2K out. That's a-okay. Kaido attack in here. You blocker, that's okay. We're going to play our own blocker, and then we end the turn. So now we have a 2K and a 1K to protect the Kaido. And we are going to actually be at 10 Dawn next turn. We almost guarantee that you have a, whatchamacallit, Gum Gum Giant. We let this resolve. That's fine. We get another 1K out of it. If we were going to counter one, we probably wanted to counter that. But I'm doubting that you have lethal, basically. I have 4K in counter still. You'd have to place your Dawn pretty well. If you wanted a lethal, you would probably do a 5K swing, so -3 Dawn. Then you would do... See a 7K there? I will probably counter out. Oh, well, you're for sure never going to do lethal, right? Because we have Sanji. Especially now that you're down below 8 Dawn. The Sanji... Oh, man. The Sanji that is Purple Sanji, he can rest a 6 cost, can't he? That may be what we're worried about. But if you do have that, then we have the counter to get out of it. So we go ahead and again, no blocker. Hey, there he is. He can rest a 6 cost, so... but if you are going for that Sanji play, we do have the blocker, right? Yeah. So we are basically just in, we're going to try to kill each other territory. And if you use all of your Dawn here, then we are for sure killing you. Or I guess not for sure, but pretty likely. This is our game of chicken here. He probably wants to play the Sanji, but it's just too risky of a play. We'll see if he can cost evaluation that properly. Because he would rest our Sanji, swing in for 7. We counter that very easily. He knows that we run a bunch of 2Ks, and he has not seen hardly any. A Zoro Juro's interesting. Are you going to have... You got a Gum Gum Giant out of it. Okay, cool. I think we're still going for it, right? I think we still go for it. I think we're gambling at this point. So we attack with 5. Okay. We attack with 6. There's a 2K. We attack with 10. Probably Gum Gum Giant. Plus 2K. Get to trash one of your brick cards, which is totally fine. Need a 2K. Oh. Ooh la la. Deploy. Use card action. This is where it's all at. Return all these to the deck. We gain an active Dawn, gain a rested Dawn. Use this guy's action to gain another active Dawn. And then we end our turn. We draw a card. We draw some Dawn. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we attack in with 10. And this is just a win or lose. Let's go. We gambled and we succeeded. We basically gambled on them not having a second Gum Gum Giant. The fact that they drew a Gum Gum Giant off their searcher kind of gave it away a little bit. But they were definitely trying to bluff that they had that second Gum Gum Giant. But hey, we beat Purple Luffy. That's pretty good. It definitely came down to the wire. I don't think that there was going to be a way for us to stabilize that situation super well. They just had so much counter potential in hand that swinging into their board, I didn't feel was going to be very efficient there. And basically was like, we could try to swing into their board and stabilize. But there's a chance that even if we manage to kill a bunch of their board, we still can't stabilize. Or we can swing into their life, which is harder to counter out and is because they're less HP, right? And has a chance of winning if we win, right? So I think works out pretty decently. The deck runs a ton of 2Ks and a ton of counter, but also runs a decent amount of bricks, right? We're very similar. We have a lot of 2Ks. We have a lot of counter outs. But hey, thank you guys for tuning in. That's some peanut butter Luffy for you. I'll go once again and look at the deck list for you here. load it up. And this is what our Goat Texas Timbers is going to be running with for the most part. We didn't see a single gecko, and honestly, we didn't really need it for a lot of that. There were definitely some situations where it could have come in handy. Play a Zoro, play a Nami, whatever it is that you want to play off of this gecko. It's a good card. It's definitely good in this deck. We will definitely see if that one sticks around. I think that in lieu of the 9-cost Rusher Luffy, having 4 of Kaido feels pretty good. May consider going higher on the 7-cost Sanji. But the problem being that you don't have much that's searchable for your rushers, right? You have the Luffy and you have the Sanji that are searchable for your rushers. But considering something that may be more searchable, that 9-cost Luffy, right? But having the Gecko Moria in lieu of that is honestly pretty decent. I'm not too much of a hater on the Gecko Moria train. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the deck, and let me know what you think of One Piece in general. I'm happy to yap about some One Piece. I'll catch y'all around. Peace.